Okay. Okay, designers, this is going to be a video about how to build a mock-up of a piece of furniture. I have a pattern here that I've got. It is very simple. And if we go into image size, it's 24 by 36 at 200. So it's very large, but we're going to probably be sizing this down. But I'm just going to right away select it all and copy it. So Command A, marching ants, Command C to copy it. Now I'm going to go up to the other image I have, which I'll show you in a second, and that is going to be this, which is the sofa. This is a sofa I found through a Google search. It's fairly high res. Actually, it's pretty good. It's at 300, and it's about 11 by 6.5 inches wide. And since we're really just going to use a section of it, that seems fine. There is I've already masked the photograph so that the white background can go away, and then you see the pixel grid underneath it. This is the mask, of course. And then what I have done, and I did this as quickly as I can, so it might not be perfect, is I made what's called kind of the masking layout, which is a color plan. And what we do with this is we use this to help paste our pattern into the different sections of the sofa. So when you're doing a mock-up, you always want to think in terms of construction. So you don't want to just put the pattern over the entire thing. It doesn't look real that way. You want to think that you're the upholsterer and you are actually putting your pattern on each face or facet of each cushion and side arm and back cushion, etc., etc. So I've kind of created this. I didn't do it. It's not super perfect, I don't think, but let's see how it goes. And again, we have this is a file I will provide for you. And for right now, I've actually named it for myself, but I will hand it over to you on Canvas. So because I have already copied and pasted, I copied that pattern, I'm going to paste it into my file. So Command V, and there it is. And if we go to transform it, I'm going to zoom out here. Of course, it is much, much bigger than the sofa itself. So what I like to do is I put that layer, meaning this is the layer of the pattern. I'm going to put it on a blend mode or an opacity setting so I can kind of see that sofa underneath and get a sense of where my pattern is. Again, with Photoshop, you can scale it by simply pulling from one of the corner anchor points. And I'm going to make it just about like so. I'm actually going to make it a little bit bigger. And I'm thinking that that's about the scale that I'd like. And let's see how that goes. So, obviously, this just right now is just that it is just holding the pattern. We're going to use this layer here. I'm going to name it, call it dots, so that I know what's going on each layer. And sometimes I just throw this down underneath the color so I can kind of see what's going on. And what we're going to do is try to make this look as realistic as possible. So I'm zooming in here so you can see what's happening. If I put this masking layout onto another blend mode, so from here I could go down to multiply, I'll take this off, you can see that the color, when it multiplies, is going to hopefully show an accurate depiction of what each section of that sofa is. So the easiest way to do this is to go back up, make this normal, take the blend mode off, and I've created this where if you use your magic wand tool by going to W and keep your tolerance at a fairly low number, like around 12 or lower, and you can either use contiguous or not. I'm going to make it non-contiguous, meaning that every time I click, for instance, in the orange, it picks up all of the orange colors. If, of course, I want it to just pick up one cushion at a time or one orange section at a time, I would put the check mark on contiguous. But for right now, to make this really fast, I'm just going to do that. And because these are kind of front-facing, they're not distorted, I can just insert my pattern here. But there's one thing I haven't done yet, so Control D. Go back to my dots, and I am going to Control A, Control C, so that I have these always at the same scale. And now they're saved into my clipboard. I'm going to turn that back off, that visibility, and do it again. So I'm going to the wand tool, clicking on the orange. Now I go up to Edit, Paste Special, Paste into. And what happens is that it pastes into all three of those orange sections of the couch. And if we put that on a blend mode and we take our masking layout off, you can see it looks pretty realistic. The reason we're doing this in sections is that we want to be able to move these so that it doesn't look like everything is perfectly matched up. I'm going to turn that off for now. I'm going to go back to my masking layout. I'm going to go to the wand tool by hitting W, and I'm going to click on the other simple facing shape. So that's the green area. And I'm going to do the same thing, Edit, Paste Special, Paste into, voila. If I turned it off and turned them all on, they're kind of perfectly arranged right now. And the best way to make a really realistic mock-up is to take the pattern, it doesn't matter which one, not the mask, but the pattern, and you want to make sure there is not a link showing. So unclick the link. And then what you can do is with your Move tool, once you're on the photograph, not on the mask, you can kind of move them around so that they look actually sewed. In other words, they're not matching up perfectly, which just makes it look much more reasonable, like this is a real photograph. And you really only have to do that a couple of times, but that's a little trick there. All right, we've got those going. Let's go back to our masking layout. I am going to just click on this purple front cushion face, and then I'm also going to, because I think the side arms can also work, I'm going to actually grab those as well. I'm going to go back up here to paste into, and let's just see. And what I do is I just do this back and forth. I turn this off, I turn all the rest of them on. Now they're all, because it's all coming from this clipboard, they're all at this point scaled exactly the same way. Again, if I wanted to kind of make them all shift within there so that they don't look quite as obvious, you know, you're just going to use your own eyeballs to decide what that looks like. It's a thing, but you've got to, if you look on my left-hand side here, I've run out of fabric. I've run out of pattern for the side, so you have to be careful with this. But just shifting it around a little bit sometimes, especially up and down, because we have a lot of length in this pattern, maybe that might look better. Again, it's a subtle thing, but it's pretty cool to do that way. And then again, if we put all three of these layers onto multiply, you can see it starts to look really good.